Here we are. Whoops, not my ceiling. There we go. Okay. Oop. Sorry about this. The camera does not want to hold still for me today. But make it work we are going to do. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this wonderful world. It is December 3rd, thus the third day of our visual depictions of 12 Days of Christmas. Hello, Clint. Thank you for joining us in the chat. While this is a live stream, there is also a live chat going on that I will be interacting with as well. So don't think I'm talking to myself. Not that I don't, but I won't be right now. As you may have seen in the description, or you will read later, this is a collaboration with Raul Reynolds of Raul Reynolds Drawing on YouTube. We are using the hashtag 12, the number 12 days of Xmas, just to shorten the hashtag 12 days of Xmas, hashtag 12 days of Xmas 2024. So days 1 and days 2 will be linked in the description box when this live is over, and you'll be able to check those out as well, including the link to the music we are going to play just a little of. Just a little. We don't want to make anyone tired of Christmas music before it has even started. So, trying to get that music going for you now. Hopefully you can hear that. Hopefully it's not too loud. And then for those of you who were with us yesterday, I mentioned using watercolor pencils today, whereas we used watercolors and on the first day. Hello, Miss Ann. Welcome back. Welcome home. How was your trip? So, yes, day 1 we used watercolors. Day 2 we used colored pencils, and we will show those at the end. Go back over those, just like the song goes in reverse for the 12 Days of Christmas. But today is day 3, and we have French hens. French hens. And I have gone ahead. Wonderful. I'm so glad, Anne. So glad. You must be exhausted, though. At least I always find the day after to be exhausting. So, the watercolor pencils that I will be using today are these Artiso watercolor pencils. They are water-soluble color pencils with soft leads, 72 colors. This is really only my second set of watercolor pencils. What I had previously was a small 12 pencil set, very generic set, and they were very well used, very well loved, but it was time to replace them. I wanted to step up just a little at least, and by no means am I a professional watercolor or a professional watercolor pencil user, but I have had quite a bit of experience with Nope, no more. We're done. The music can be done. I have had experience with a particular technique with watercolor pencils that includes Mod Podge. And this, as you can see, is the glossy Mod Podge. But since I am not mailing any of this out, this is just going to be in my notebook here. I wasn't concerned about the stickiness factor, which is a real thing with Mod Podge, especially in the more humid areas of the country, and especially in the summer months. So, as you can imagine, first what we're going to do is use these watercolor pencils to go ahead and give some color to our French hen. And then the magic will begin. Let's see here. Trying to pull up my image that I would like to make similar. If you hear anything like a siren in the background, it is, for some reason, even though we are in December, it is the first Tuesday of the month, and therefore the sirens are going off. It's a little strange. If my husband comes in, I'll know there's a problem. Okay. Now I have our French hen, who apparently has what I call a gobble on a turkey. I don't know what it's called on a wonderful French hen. And that is red. This background, if you've noticed that I've colored already, is not, is plain watercolor, just for contrast, just for a background, and will not be involved in the photograph or the image here in the watercolor or Mod Podge process. Let's get that good in red. You really should have sharpened the red, but this really is the only red that we need to do. Let's see if we can't beef it up though just a little with another red. Okay, well, I'm a little nervous because the siren has not stopped. But again, nothing from my husband. However, he is mostly deaf, you guys. And he's using a headset to be able to be on remote phone calls and video calls. Okay, there it goes. There's the wind down of the siren. Whew, okay. We do not need tornadoes in December in the Midwest. We just don't. Let's look for, unlike my colored pencils that I put in a zipper binder, this is layers, trays of pencils. So I'd have to do some lifting up. Oh goodness, it's starting back up, you guys. Perhaps I should check the weather while I am sitting here. Let me just do that really quick and make sure there is no reason for me to be concerned. Let's see, today we have 27 degrees currently. And it looks like a clear sky outside. Yep. So, let's look over here at the weather.com and they'll show us perhaps radar. And there's nothing. Okay. Maybe that was just their one last test for the year. And for some reason, to give us all a mild panic attack, they decided to do it twice. All right. Now we need shades of brown in here. So let us move this tray. And you're going to get into this next tray, 2 trays actually. Put one out of the way. Let's see. Actually, no, let's just try this bottom tray, which is the hardest, always the hardest one to get out. Oop. Always the hardest. So let's put the darkest on the bottom, others in the middle, and we will work from this tray for right now, I believe. Ooh, there's even some more red. Let's see what this color says it is. It's because this one looks like I've never used it. Radish red. A502 radish red. Let's see what radish red does for him. Oh, a little more depth to the red. Why not? Depth is always a good thing. And now I think we will start with this area here. The little blue spots that you see are still remnants from too much water on the first page I did with watercolor alone, with making the absolute rookie mistake of not gessoing the page and using both sides, front and back of the page. And it went through not only to the back side of that page, but onto this page. This third page. This is mixed media paper, which is all well and good for watercolor if you gesso it first. Your best bet perhaps is just even watercolor paper, and then maybe even gesso that. So let's start with the darker colored wing area here. This is kind of a reddish brown. We'll just give it a little of this. So that can't interfere too much. And this one we have is walnut brown. It all looks like chocolate to me. I don't like chocolate, but I love the color chocolate brown. That is for sure. Brown, orange, greens, and mustard yellows. Those are all my favorite colors. I'm going to saturate this pretty good here. And then just as we go up, we're going to lighten up a little. And I'm doing it in just these little mini strokes back and forth to help with the idea of feathering. And then we don't want a hard edge over there, so let's give it a little bit of a staggered edge there. Now let's get a good, well, let's see, what is this one called? Saddle brown. Well, let's start here with the butt feathers. Can't go wrong up there. And with this technique, you really do have to be a little heavy-handed with your watercolor pencils. A little more heavy-handed than perhaps, you know, you really would be if you were applying water to them. But we will be applying a thicker medium to them, so also wet, but you know, not water, so not 100%, not totally liquid, more of a gel. this Mod Podge kind of is, watery gel. If you hear that scratching, that's my poor puppy that's in the other room, and the door is shut on him, and he needs to stay in there because he lately just cannot try to stay out of trouble no matter what I am doing on camera or not. If he can get to the garbage can, he's pulling things out of the trash. If he can get to any of my art supplies under my desk, he knocks them down. You'd think he literally had 2 hands with opposable thumbs. He's literally that good at it, which is annoying when it happens all day long. And he wants mom's attention, of course. I'm going to go around this outline here. Always good to outline, if you can, the edge so you know where to stop. See how serious he is, you guys? So serious about getting in here. He just doesn't want to be missing a thing. My poor wooden door. Meanwhile, the dog who usually causes all the... Whoops, pushed too hard. Meanwhile, the dog that causes all the problems in this house usually is laying here quietly, sleeping, taking a nap. Oh, man, I might have spoke too soon. I heard the jingle of a collar. No, he is. He's doing good. Good boy, Hank. Just trying to get those lighter spots filled in a little bit. Because like I said, we want to be more heavy-handed with these watercolor pencils than you might normally be if you were just using them for regular watercoloring. Help blend that in. And let's see if we can add just a little bit more walnut brown in this area. Again, kind of using maybe the side of the pencil lead. When you want to shade. And no, we're not throwing shade, we're just adding shade. Knowing me, I probably said that yesterday, and it's just as not funny today as it was yesterday. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and give him some legs. toes, big chicken toes. And let's pick an entirely different, well, let's wait, first let's put our ground line in. And an entirely different color for our number 3 and our French hens. That way it'll stand out entirely. What is this green here? Let me see. Green jasper. Sounds delightful. Just gonna go over the top of what I wrote by hand with a regular pencil. Oop. Green jasper. And again, I'm pressing a lot harder than maybe I would, definitely harder than I would normally. Unless I was trying to get a really strong color. And regular watercoloring with pencils. And now our number 3. Here at the top. Oop. Good thing I was doing that with that one. I'm going to set one aside because I broke the lead on that one. Okay, so we can go ahead and close up our watercolors for now. And this is where the fun kicks in. Grabbing a couple of sizes and shapes of paint brushes. And let's see what we can accomplish here. I have already poured some of the clear Mod Podge into this tray here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and paint the biggest part, which is this color here. I'm going to paint that first. There's a lot of bubbles in this. To settle that down a little. All right. Now you do have to, the same as you would if you were spreading watercolor around, and you get into different colors, you need to rinse your brush, because the Mod Podge will spread the various colors in and smear them into one another if you start to smear and share space without rinsing first and adding new Mod Podge to your brush. And at first I'm going lightly, not super light, but lightly over the top. And then as you saw me do here, I added just a little bit more on that second layer. There's a kind of a fine line with this. There's not enough, and then there's too much. And when you get not enough, it doesn't really have the effect you want it to have, which, by the way, the effect is not only gloss, but it has a bit of a 3D effect. Comes textured, raises it, raises those areas. Now, if this was a bigger picture or a scene of some sort, you may choose to highlight certain areas and not do the whole image. It's a good way of highlighting areas, making certain areas pop. I did a lot of that with Halloween cards in years past. You know, on eyes and mouths on monsters, or if I was doing medical anatomical images, you know, certain parts of the heart, just highlighting those areas to make them stand out away from the rest of the image. All right, and since that was lighter, we're going to go ahead and just keep going. There doesn't seem to be any color on the brush. I kind of go with the texture. Like this is a feather, so we're going to kind of make that feathery motion, because these lines we want them to show. We want it to give us that texture too, that dimension. That line there where the feather is versus the body. Okay, some legs. Actually, I think I'm going to change now. Put that in my water. Change now to a much smaller tip of a brush. This one's, I don't know the names of the different types of brushes. I apologize. But this one's easier to draw. It's not a fine liner because it's not pointed. But it's kind of a rounded, long-haired shape. anyone wants to put down in the comments or let me know the names of some of these paintbrush styles, I would be grateful. See, now that one did pull red. So I'm going to grab a paper towel because we don't want to add the red back into our Mod Podge pile there. Let's finish our legs. And it really kind of does matter that you paint the Mod Podge on as if you were painting again with color. Just when you put the Mod Podge over the top, because if you just smear it around, it really will just look smeared around and kind of ruin your image, because what it's doing is it's picking up some of that watercolor and blending with it to make that dimensional part of the image. And as you can see, the Mod Podge is actually starting to dry already. In some of the areas there. Now, some people don't like to dry Mod Podge with like an air dryer or a heat gun. Other people do just fine with that. I say, in my opinion, with my experience anyway, it just depends on the project and how much Mod Podge you're using. Uh-oh, the dog has been set free. Yeah. Too much scratching at the door. Oh, and I hear my husband telling his co-workers what I am dove. No, 3 French hens, Daddy, not 2 turtle doves. Today is 3 French hens. Ooh, he's muttering. He thinks I can't hear him. Hi, Stephanie. Nice to see you. How have you been? How's little man? How did, Anne, how did Lily take you being gone? Did she in cat style just not give a poop? Not notice even? Not care? Or was she really super happy to see you when you got home? He's good, rotten as ever. All doing okay, staying warm. Oh, goodness, yes. Glad to hear. He's good, as rotten as ever. That's exactly what I could say for my son also. And yes, we too are trying to stay warm. Everything is so frosty outside. The frost from overnight did not go away. I knew we were in for a cold one when I opened my eyes and looked up at my skylight, and it was frosted over. Trying not to be too heavy-handed here, but enough to activate this watercolor pencil and not smear. Not smear color. We do not want to smear color. Okay. Now for this particular project with the Mod Podge over the watercolor pencil, I think I am going to apply some heat in the form of an hair dryer, which then also provides, obviously, blowing hot air. Probably not on high though. If you do it too fast, you'll end up with nothing but the white blob of from where the Mod Podge is. We don't want white blobs. We want to have enough time to have activated with the color. And make it nice and glossy and a little more dimensional than it would have been just leaving it as a colored pencil line. Does anyone have their Christmas tree up yet? Every year we try to be the day after Thanksgiving, and it's amazing how, I guess, when we had children, smaller kids here, the 3 older ones, we accomplished that. But now that there are less of us, and one could argue that we might be even less busy, we don't seem to get the Christmas tree up the day after Thanksgiving. But I am going to start dropping the hint for hubby to pull it out of the crawl space. And by dropping hint, I mean putting post-it notes on his computer screens at his workstation. Last year, one of our trees, actually we put up 2 trees. One small one, decorated typical for Christmas, and one larger one with more nature-based decorations for the winter solstice and for Yule. But when we were taking down that tree, and I say we, because only in that I saw it happen, when my husband was taking it down, it broke. And so we are going to have to, instead of having just that 6-foot skinnier tree for our Yule and winter solstice tree, we're going to have a more typical, 7-foot, 6-7-foot full round Christmas tree, which then is going to require me to have more. And you do want to rinse your brushes really, really fast, as quickly as you can. You do not want brushes stuck together with Mod Podge. And I, like most of the rest of the people I've heard who do use paintbrushes a lot and keep water around and may even leave their paintbrushes in the water, add a little bit of Murphy's oil soap or some other type of gentle bit soap, just a tiny bit, just enough. And that helps kind of break anything down that you might have on your brush. Helps with removing the paint as well. Let's put this green. Oh no, this is the one I have to, that is the one I have to sharpen after I'm done with y'all. And I don't want to forget that. If I put it in there, I will most definitely forget it. And then regret it and be upset with myself when I need to use it next time. All right. So let us, I'm going to see if, well, actually, I don't know that I can mute you. Let me try. Actually, nope, I don't think I can. So I'm going to put this on low. And if you remember, I said with it, and what we started with, this was all just pencil line drawing to begin with. So another reason we need this good and dry is that we're going to go ahead and do this outline with ink, pen ink, and we do not want to ruin our pens. And then also have our pen be absolutely useless in trying to make an outline. I'm going to see if I can't bring this closer up to the camera for you to see what is happening here. I don't know if you can see that shimmer, but, or there you can, up there on the 3, you can see the shine. Oh, I saw it for a second. There you go. Not the easiest thing to show on camera. It's also kind of puffing up the whole, you can see, kind of puffing up the whole French hen, the whole body there. And I do see an area here where we have some bubbling. And so while it's warm, with the heat going on it, I'm going to rub and smooth those bubbles out. Now, when I was doing my Halloween cards, when I especially wanted an area to stand out, I would go over it even a second time after I dried it. So I think we will try a little bit of that because let's make this hen have some really good feather looks to it. Same up into the tail feather area, right? I'm sure these French hens, like our hens here in America, they shake a tail feather. And we want this one to look like it actually has feathers. Not so much up here. A little bit. Try to go around the eye nicely and easily because we don't want to spread that black from the color from the eye. Give some more to our red crown there. Oh, so hubby's let my dog in and forgot to shut the door while he's on the phone with his workmates. Let me remedy that real quick. And I'm going to leave this to sit here for a moment and dry while I do that. I'm going to go shut that door myself. And I will be right back. Any of this tinkling you hear over here is me emptying my pockets of the buttons I brought from upstairs, my upstairs craft room, into my downstairs area here. So I find myself not only wanting beads, but also wanting buttons. And so I am adding buttons to my bead basket, although I usually keep them separate. Down here, the smaller amount that I have won't bother anything terribly. Turns out hubby did have the door shut, but he only shut the bottom half of the door and the top half of the door. I forget what you call it. It's not a barn door. It's some other kind of door, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. When it's split in half and you can open the bottom half and the top half separately. The top half was open still a little bit. Let's see if this can come through any better. some shine and sheen. There you go. Now, I could imagine, that this would be good also for those of you who make Christmas cards, to also highlight certain areas if you are able to add color. Now, even if this image was to have color to start with, and you use your watercolor pencils over the top of that, it will have the same effect. So even if you're using an image that you've already painted and it's sealed, or that it's a non-waterproof, movable, actual waterproof, not waterproof, a waterproof color to that image, you can go ahead and use your watercolor pencils over the top, and then the Mod Podge, and it will have the same effect. If your image has color that is movable by water, you want to maybe do a test patch area first before you start putting watercolor pencil and Mod Podge over the top of all of that. So we, as usual, are going to go ahead and add some black ink with the Sharpie S Pro that I've been using and love. And again, I like this to be more of a sketchy black outline. And let's do our French hens. See, it resists the black ink where the Mod Podge actually is. You can go right up alongside it. To your heart's fancy. You will be so happy to see me when this video is over. That poor dog must think he's grounded. In there with Daddy and one other dog, and with Oliver, and you'd think he was in prison the way he's acting. Don't feel sorry for him. Plenty of pillows to lay on, and I mean big squishy pillows. Water to drink. He's already eaten his food this morning. Don't feel sorry for him. All right. I did have a friend comment about when the actual 12 days of Christmas are. And this friend said that the actual 12 days of Christmas are the 12 days after Christmas, up until, I believe, January 6th, which is considered the Epiphany. And that is what a lot of Christians believe or follow, or both. I did look that up online back when, before I started this collaboration with Raul. It came up as, in my research of the song. And Snopes, take it for what you will. Snopes, the website, debunks the Christian connection to it. However, the article went on to explain exactly how it actually was, referred to and believed to be, each part, each verse, and what it would represent biblically and in the Christian faith. So I guess we will all have to just, as usual, decide for ourselves what we think of this song. It is out of copyright and royalty free. Just FYI, for anyone who wants to use it as background music for anything Christmas related online, you can find many, many versions of it. My only warning is be careful of what version you find and use, because if it's done by a specific composer or, recorded by a specific musical artist, they may have made even the most minuscule of changes to it, and therefore been able to copyright that version. So always look, even in the copyright free, royalty free music sites that you may find online. You may click on one and then still find that there's a copyright symbol next to the version that you wanted to use, of course. But there are many, many, many that are not. All right, now we will move on to the actual, highlighting some actual hen here. Pardon me for a moment. Top door, please. I apologize. He opened the door for something and forgets the top. All right. Now this hashtag 12 days of Xmas 2024 for me will be going on through December 12th for the 12th day of Christmas in the verse of the song. Raul Reynolds, who I said came up with this idea and started this collaboration with me, is going to be grouping some of his drawings and imagery that he's creating for this hashtag, grouping them into fewer than 12 videos. I believe, 1 through 6 maybe all together, and so on. But don't forget to go check out his channel at Raul Reynolds Drawing on YouTube to see what Raul has done in his interpretation of the 12 Days of Christmas. Oh, let's have this shaking a little tarot filler here. Because why not? Go get that crown in there, and the gobble gobble gobble. I don't remember the name again of that, and I'm sure I call it gobble 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 because turkey's having that, but this is a French hen, and chickens have all kinds of similar features, but I don't know the name of it. I don't know if the name is different on a different for a turkey than it is for a chicken or a hen or a rooster. To me, they're all gobble gobble gobbles. And there's the feather on the wing. And we're just going to let that be. It's letting me do a little bit of coloring with the ink over the top. But this is one of those things where you probably shouldn't touch it right away either. Simply for the ink, even though everything else is dry, just the ink you don't want to smudge, since some of it might be applied right over the top. Or simply right up next to the Mod Podge. Give it a little less perfect tail feather, make it look a little bit feathery on the edge there of our tail feathers, since we are showing them as moving. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to see if we can get any of that glossiness again. There we are. Okay, so there we have it, 3 French hens. And let's look back to our 2 turtle doves. And our partridge in a pear tree. So I will go back now and sign and date. Always sign your art, date your art. In this case, I'm also going to add the hashtag so I remember. 12 days of Xmas 2024. Okay. Voila. And that is done. So, thank you for those of you who have joined us here live today, and for any of you watching on the replay, thank you as well. If you have any comments, questions, I would love to see them down below, and I will answer and reply to any of them. If you haven't liked or subscribed, feel free to go ahead and do that. It would be much appreciated. And join us tomorrow for our 4 collie birds with an interesting little twist. Some of us may or may not already know about the 4th day of Christmas. Thank you, Anne. You have a great day too. Happy Tuesday. All right, folks. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.